Hello children, welcome back to your English class with me Sir Ellis. So in the previous class we had learned mixed verbs and linking verbs. So I believe we all understand what we had learned. Did we all understand? I'm asking you a question. Did we all understand what we had learned in the previous class? That is mixed verbs and linking verbs. If it's a yes, that's good. But if you don't understand, also still good. Anyhow, but if you don't understand it, do not hesitate to call me. You can always call me up and we will try to solve the problem that you have. Or you can always ask your parents to call me up and say that you did not understand the lesson. So we can always do it again. Anyhow, here are the answers to your home assignment. So I ask you to underline all the verbs that you see from the sentences here. She cleans her mouth every day. So here we have cleans, which involves action word. So cleans here involves, it is an action word, so it will be a dynamic verb or the main verb here. And the next is, his dog is a Labrador. So here, do we find any action word or action verb? No, we do not find an action verb or an action word here. So the verb is here, which is a stative or state verb, will serve as the main verb. All right. So his dog is a Labrador. So is here will serve as a main verb because we don't have any action verb here. We only have this state verb or stative verb called is. And the next also it goes like the second one. They are not aliens. So we don't find any action words here again. So are will serve as the main verb in this sentence. And don't forget that are is a stative verb or state of being. And the next is, did you brush your teeth yesterday? Did you brush your teeth yesterday? Here did and brush will be the verbs. Okay, and this is a question sentence or an interrogative sentence because it's a question. All right, it's a question sentence or an interrogative sentence. They all jumped over the fence. Here we have an action verb called jumped. So here jumped will be the main verb because it involves action. So it's a dynamic verb and here it will serve as a main verb. We are not fighting. Here we have two verbs here. We are and fighting. Are is the state verb or the stative verb. Fighting involves action. So here are will be the helping verb for the word fighting, the action word called fighting. Are is the state verb and it will serve as a helping verb for this fighting because we have an action word fighting here. So are, which is also a verb, will serve as the helping verb. It looks like a fish. So do we have any action word here? Do we have an action word here? No, it just looks like a fish. So looks will be the main verb because we don't have any other verbs or we don't have any other action verbs. So we have only this state verb called or stative verb called looks. So it will be the main verb here. And the next is, we seemed to lost our faith in God. Here we have two verbs. So these are stative verbs. And today we will be learning belonging verbs. As I've mentioned before, we have three basics. We have three basics of verbs, that is the main verb or the action verb, which is called dynamic verb, and state verb or state of being, which is called stative verb, and the next is belonging verbs. These are the three main basics of verbs, right? But before we begin, let's see the definition of verbs or verb from your book. Let's see. A word that describes a physical action, mental action, which are dynamic verbs, or state of being, that is stative, or talks about what someone owns is called a verb. What someone owns. Today we are going to do what someone owns or belonging verb. What someone owns denotes a belonging verb. Right, here physical action and mental action, they are dynamic verbs, and state of being is stative, and what someone owns is a belonging verb. You might hear people saying that this has, have and had are stative verb or state verbs. That can be right, but for this lesson we are going to call it belonging verbs. Here, these three words are important when we are going to learn belonging verbs. What someone owns, which are has, have, and had. The three main example words of belonging verbs are has, have, and had. And it is easy to know when, where, and how to use has, have, and had using the following conditions. I call it conditions, or you can call it factors or anything. You can simply call it words also, but I call them conditions. So let me repeat it again. It is easy to know when, where, and how to use has, have, and had using the following conditions. So what are the conditions? Let's see. Ownership, relationship, feature, experience, eating or food habit, and illness or sickness. Okay, so first of all, let's see ownership. Here we have a man here, and behind him there are some cars here. So we can say he has lots of cars because these cars belong to him. Right, these three cars belong to him, so that means he has a car. He owns three cars. We can say, but when we say owns, it turns into a stative verb. But when we use the word has, we can call it a belonging verb. Understand? And the next is relationship. Relationship means a mother to a son or daughter, or a father to a son or daughter, or a grandmother or grandfather to their grandchildren, grandson or granddaughter, like that kind of relationship, or an uncle to a nephew. Understand? So we are going to talk about that kind of relationships. All right, so let's see. Here is grandma baking cookies for her two little grandchildren. Okay, so what sentence can we have here? She has two grandchildren. So we have the belonging verb, we have the word has, which is a belonging verb. Understand? And let's try to form another sentences from this. Let's try to form another sentences from this. All right. From he has lots of cars. Let's say if we change the subject he to they, we will use have. They have lots of cars. We cannot use has anymore because the subject of the sentence is plural, more than one. They, when we say they, it is more than one. We are talking about more than one. All right. So that's a plural. But if it's only one, we call it singular. And by the way, they have lots of cars is an affirmative sentence or a positive sentence. He did not have lots of cars. Did not. We have did not here. So whenever we have the word did not in our sentence, the verb in the verb has will turn into has, or if it's a word looks, we don't have to add s. If we have the subject they, if we have a plural subject, the verb will turn into the base form. Okay, let's see here, ownership. So she has 2 grandchildren, and let's try to form another sentences from this ownership. Okay, let's change the subject he to they. So when we say they, we have to use have, because the subject is more than one here. So we cannot use has anymore because the subject is plural. They means more than one person, understand? But if we say he or I, it's only one person and it's called a singular form. But here we have a plural form, they, so we have to use have. Understand? They have lots of cars. And in fact, this is an affirmative sentence or a positive sentence. He did not have lots of cars. Here, what do you find? Did not, right? He did not has. We don't say has anymore because we use the word did. So we are using the base form here, have. He did not have lots of cars. So did not, if there's a word called not, the sentence will be a negative sentence. Understand? And the next is, did he have lots of cars? So what is this? There's a question mark here. So it's an interrogative sentence or a question sentence. Understand? It is an interrogative sentence or a question sentence because we are asking something, right? Did he have lots of cars? Yes, he had lots of cars. We can say like that. And here also, she had 2 grandchildren. If we are going to put this in a past tense, has will turn into had. Understand? She had 2 grandchildren. And here, she did not have grandchildren. We use did here, so the verb has will change into have. She did not have grandchildren. So whenever we have did not or not, not, the sentence will always be a negative sentence. Understand? Did she have grandchildren? So here we have a question mark and it's an interrogative sentence or a question sentence. Understand? And see the change in the verbs here, the belonging verbs. Firstly, we have she has 2 grandchildren. That's the present form or the positive or affirmative form. She had 2 grandchildren. That means it's a past tense. Had is a past tense. She did not. So here, did not turns the sentence into a negative sentence. Or did she? So, did she have? So, here it's an interrogative sentence or a question sentence. Understand? We have 2 grandchildren. We have 2. See the change in the verb here. Had, have. With we are using have here. Okay, but with she we are using has. But for a past tense, they can all share had. We had, she had, I had, they had. And feature. What's the meaning of feature? Feature is, let me say, one part of something. All right. One, like I've explained before, if we take a look at our head, the nose is one of the features of my head or my face. The eyes also are the features of the face. Understand? So feature means something that is a part of something. Right? Something that is a part of something. So it's easy like that. Like the nose, my nose is one part of my face, like that feature. Here we have a very beautiful actor or actress, we can say. Who is she? I think we know her. She is Lara Croft in Tomb Raider. She is Lara Croft, but in real life her name is Angelina Jolie. So what's her feature? What is nice about her? What did she have? Nice lips. Alright. If you take a look at her lips, and this actress Angelina Jolie is famous for her lips, which is very beautiful. Understand? She has beautiful lips. So lips is one of the features of face of Angelina Jolie. So we can say she has beautiful lips. So that turns into a feature. Her lips is one of the features of her face. Okay. And experience. Experience means, see, people will tell us something about a place, but we have not experienced yet because we haven't gone there. Suppose if somebody talks about Delhi, you will only hear about the story of Delhi, but if you go there, you are experiencing it for yourself. Understand? Or riding in a plane or flying in a plane. If you haven't been on a flight or in an airplane, people can tell you we take off and we land again like that. But if you go there, if you travel by an airplane on your own, that means you have an experience of flying in an airplane. So that kind of experience is what we are going to talk about here. Here what do we find? LFK beach picnic. Alright, here they have a picnic. So let's see. We had a nice time at the beach yesterday. And here I'm using the word had because it happened yesterday. So we had a nice time at the beach yesterday. And had here is the belonging verb. Understand? And it's a past tense as well. So let's try to form another sentences again. They have beautiful lips. So the subject she turns into she, which is a singular, turns into a plural they. They have beautiful lips. So if we use the word they or the subject they, we have to use the verb or the belonging verb have instead of has. Why? Because the subject is, whenever we use has, the subject is singular, but if we use have, the subject will be a plural. Understand? She did not have beautiful lips. So what do we find here? Did not. So whenever we have this word not, the sentence will be a negative sentence. She did not have beautiful lips. And here again, did she have beautiful lips? So here's a question mark. So how do we call this? It's an interrogative sentence or a question sentence. Understand? So because we are asking something. She had beautiful lips. Let's do it this way. Did she have beautiful lips? Yes, she had beautiful lips. Alright. Excuse me. And here also we had a nice time at the beach yesterday. We had a nice time at the beach yesterday. We have a nice time at the beach. Had will turn into have. That is because had is a past tense. The past tense turns into a present tense. So if we are going to use a present tense, the subject is still we, but we have to change the verb had into have. And what is the next? We did not have a nice time today. We did not have a nice time today. Did not. So it's a negative sentence again here. Did we have a nice time? So here you see a question mark. Here dot 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 means there are some more, if you can add some more words. Alright. Did we have a nice time yesterday, or did we have a nice time at the park? Like that. And it's a question or interrogative sentence because we have a question mark and it is a question sentence. And eating and food habits. Let's see. What are they doing here? They have lunch. They have lunch at noon. They have lunch at noon. Here have is the belonging verb. And what about this one? Illness and sickness. Here what do we see here? A cancer patient. Alright. So we can say she has cancer means is suffering from cancer. Okay. So has here will be the belonging verb, or it serves as the main verb here because we don't have any other verbs. Understand? So let's try to construct another sentences again. Some other sentences again. Here they had lunch at noon. So have will turn into had if it's a past tense. So here they had lunch at noon means it's a past tense, but still it's an affirmative sentence, alright, or a positive sentence. They did not have lunch at noon. So here we are forming a negative sentence because we use did not. Instead of saying they have lunch at noon, we say they did not have lunch at noon. So the positive turns into negative by adding did not. Okay. Did they have lunch at noon? Did they have lunch at noon? So here's a question mark and we have did. We are asking a question here, so it's an interrogative sentence or a question sentence. What about this one? Let's see. She had cancer. So has turned into had. That means it's a past tense. We turned has into had, so we turn the present tense into a past tense by this word had. Did she have cancer? What kind of a sentence is this? There's a question mark here. It's a question sentence or it's an interrogative sentence. She did not have cancer means did not. So it turns into a negative sentence. Or we can ask ourselves like this. Did she have cancer? No, she did not have cancer. We are asking a question and we answer it with a negative sentence again. No, she did not have cancer. Not. We have not. So that means it's a negative sentence. Here, I just want to explain a bit about this sentence formation. But see, sentence formation is another lesson. There's a whole lesson called tense or sentence. Alright, so we will learn how to form sentence, but right now I'm going to teach you only the basics. Alright, so that you can have some ideas when we learn sentences. I am doing this because we are learning sentence formation because I want you to know a bit about how sentences are formed. Alright, how sentences are formed. And here, sentence formation. We have a whole lesson called sentences, forming sentences or forming a sentence. So it's another lesson. Alright, but I just want you to have some idea about forming sentence from here. We are not going to touch all of them, but I'm going to teach you a little bit. affirmative or positive sentence. Let's see. In affirmative or positive sentence, there has to be a subject, verb, and an object. This is a complete sentence. Alright. In a complete sentence, there has to be a subject. The subject can be he, I, you, we, they, like that, she, he, like that. Those are the subjects. And the verbs can be the action verb or stative verbs like that, but there has to be at least one verb. Understand? And here, object. Here, subject is the doer. Let's say he jumps in the pool. So the doer is he, right? Who is jumping in the pool? He. Or let's say Mike or John. John jumps into the pool. So the subject will be John and the verb will be jump. Alright, jumps. And the receiver of the action is the pool. So the pool is the object of the sentence. Understand? The subject is, we can use pronoun like he, she, they, we, I, you, like that. We can have pronouns or names. Mike, John, Grace, like that. And the verbs also can change according to the subject that we use. But there are some sentences that do not have an object, like birds fly. Bird flies, like that. They don't have any object, but they are still complete sentences. Alright, but we are going to learn that in formation in tense. There's a whole lesson. Let me say it again. There's another lesson, whole lesson called tense. Alright, there we will learn about future tense, past tense, and present tense, like that. But here what I want you to concentrate is subject, verb, and object. Alright, and it's a positive sentence or affirmative sentence. Subject is the doer. So what is the doer doing? Mike. Supposing Mike, what is Mike doing? Mike jumps in the pool. Where? In the pool. So the verb is jumps and the object is pool, the receiver of the action. Mike, the subject, jumps, the verb, into the pool. Pool, the object, the receiver. Understand? This is how the sentence is formed. But like I said, there are some sentences which do not have an object, like birds fly or bird flies, like that. Here, I or you, we can use I or you as a subject, but for the verb, let's say I go to school or you go to school. So I and you is the subject, go is the verb, and school is the object. Alright, do you understand like that? The subject here is I or you, the verb is go, and the object is school, the receiver. The doer is I or you. Here, we, they. Let's use we or they as the subject. We can still use the verb or the action verb called go. We or they go to school. And for the last, he, she, it. Here there's a strict rule here. If we are going to use the present tense here, but if the subjects are he, she, or it, we have to add an s in the verbs. He goes to school, she goes to school, it goes to school, or it goes to anywhere. Right. So these are the simple present tense. We will learn more about simple past tense, simple future tense, like that, continuous tense, like that, in the lesson called tense. But for now, we are learning only affirmative or positive sentence. So I am going to include some bits like this in while learning these verbs. So please pay extra attention on this, because if you don't know how to form a sentence, learning verbs will not have any meaning. Alright, so, and sometimes we call it conjugation of verb. Change the verb. Conjugation means changing the verb according to the subject or according to the tense. Understand? So that's called conjugation of verb. We will learn that in under the lessons to come. Alright, but I think you have some idea about forming sentences. Okay, let's have a quick recap again. Oh, by the way, here, I go to school, we or they go to school, he, she, it goes to school. But you can still say on weekdays. Alright, I go to school on weekdays, you go to school on weekdays, they go to school on weekdays. So we can be specific like this if we want to. But anyhow, I go to school is a complete sentences. Sorry, I go to school is a complete sentence. We go to school is a complete sentence. She goes to school is a complete sentence. But we can add on weekdays also if we want to be more specific on what we are saying or on what we said. Understand? So that's about it, forming sentence formation. But we are doing only affirmative or positive sentence here. From the next, we will learn negative sentence or question sentence or interrogative sentence. But let's stop here for now. That's about it. For your home assignment, make 2 sentences each with the following conditions. Here we have 6 conditions. Alright, like ownership, relationship, feature, experience, food, eating habits, illness or sickness. Alright, so here, this is how you're going to answer. Number 1 is ownership. I ask you to make 2 sentences each. Ownership, you can write it like this. Number 1, ownership, and sub number A, I have this and that. B, he has this and that. And here with experience also it goes the same thing. You have to do it in the same manner like this. Alright, with feature also you have to do it in the same manner like I'm doing here. I'm just giving you a hint. Alright, an example. So please make a good use of these examples. Okay, and that is all for now. Take care, and I'll see you again in the next class, and thank you.